I started doing this Lilith Potter. I was doing it more like a know-me healing. It's kind of a great healing that we were doing, getting our lowest self and bringing it up to the forefront. Mine was the demon kitty, and it was coming up, and it was building a new skin that would grow up. It's a component of that cat that its baseline desire was to create beauty, but it didn't really like health so much. So its growth, or the growing up, was to send metal spears or wires, DNA chains, to go and reach out for health spheres. This is a healing you guys should probably do sometime. Just find the animal archetype within your lowest self. It could be a cat or a dog or a frog if you're a Hufflepuff, or a Malachib. The frog people, if your lowest self is an amphibious creature, it's going to be more in the realms of a Tiferet person. If it's more reptile, it's going to be more Slytherin-y. So you're going to need to do a lot of work if you're still in reptile zone. A lot. You're going to need to transmute that into... So this is the self of yours that will be able to navigate its way through the hell realms. Reptiles don't... They evolved for a reason. Let's just say that. So, my self that could navigate through the hell realms was a kitty cat. Could maneuver and be intelligent and like be a little tricky and then be a little bit slappy on whatever snakes needed to get tamed. And it still got slaughtered. So your lower self, your lowest self needs to be transmuted and healed into that beautiful gnome. As I was doing that healing, old stuff from Star kept coming up. Things where I was being forced to channel her daily. And they're shadows and imprints and ectoplasmic nonsense. And I got to the point where it's like, yay, thanks for ruining another healing. Thanks for wasting another hour of mine. It gets real old. Somebody wanting to continuously put words of theirs in your mouth. Literally. Mind blown. More rape. So we're going to do this Lilith Potter, and it's going to be about like, our word is our word, and not the word of somebody else's. It has a sense of independence and autonomy. It's our crown chakra, not someone else's, not some fucking dumb guru. Not even if I'm the dumb guru, okay? Like that. It's not Lucifer's, it's not Charlie's. Many times you'll see me in a, like, when Lucifer says something, like, I give Lucy the credit. Like, that's Lucifer's thing. Very rarely do I disagree, but Lucifer has his own voice. And that's appropriate. There's very little disharmony in that. Same thing with Charlie. Disharmony, very slim. In fact, with all the dragons, very rarely do they even disagree. But some of them might counter each other with differentiating variables of an equation. The most disharmony is around the weather or the timing of things. Like when we realize we're on a demon in hell planet and now there's 1 billion people that are going to get confessed or getting confessed. And you're like, oh, but we were intending that those people were going to be Hufflepuffs, like that. More data, when you receive more data, you can make better decisions and have a more appropriate discourse. So Star's words are, I do not endorse this class. Never would I see it be made mandatory. That's fine, because Baba G would. And Baba G is much more important than Star. Star's a confessed person. So as I confess these people, most of them lose all credibility and ability. Credibility. As they lose their credibility, their ability to communicate in the astral planes goes away. That's how I know they're confessed, actually. So they're unable to send vibrations outward. And it becomes like bottles of light. Now the problem is down at the bottom of the Clippeth, everything's still like, the confessed people aren't as confessed, and we need to get the dragons up and running to like make sure all those like imprints, those shadow imprints are cleaned. But for the most part, you can tell a confessed person versus a not confessed person, even in just waking reality when you shake their hands. They lost credibility with the word of God, and therefore was diminished by their own doing. They lost God's street cred. So, to allow your word to be polluted by somebody else's, that's what we're going to do the Lilith Potter on healing. So we're not allowing it. Your word is a reflection of you. So it needs to be 100% in integrity with you. You rarely, I'm going to repeat this. When you say something, you better wish and desire to back it up. Even when you're in a heat of an argument, especially when you're at war and in heat of argument, you need to have intent. So we're going to go into our throat chakra. I almost never saw Star in integrity with her word. Ever. 0. In fact, I'm trying to recall one instance where I was like, yeah, she's being really honest. On a bigger picture scale about anything. Other than we're all magicians and it's totally okay if we cut down as many trees as we want and use as many planetary resources as we want, because we're gonna change everything as fast as fucking possible. Oh my god. It doesn't matter what we do. There's no such thing as Malkuth. The root chakra does not matter really that much. It doesn't matter if we cut down a tree. It doesn't feel any pain. It doesn't matter if I buy organic produce or not. It doesn't matter how many cows I kill. I don't get any karma from that. You know why? Because I'm God's like most favorited person ever, so it doesn't matter. Those cows didn't matter, so and you're a murderer, by the way. Because you didn't put on a turn signal, but it doesn't matter how many crimes I commit because I am the leader of an entire Mayan lineage. Of the most poised, masterful people on the planet and filled with the most light. Most light. But it's fine when you come and live with me. You can get sick every single month and I'm going to still shove down your throat that I'm the world's best healer. Okay. And I'm going to still shove down your throat after 5 months of knife raping you in the astral planes. That you are a murderer and deserve to die. But I am the world's best healer. And there is no room for sanity, logic, or truth. Or justice. I can't even let you have one word. And I'm going to point out what a giant ego you have, even if you try. Try to point out one failure or flaw in anything of mine. You're never allowed to acknowledge my weight, for instance. And that maybe or maybe not, I might not actually be healthy or a healer because I'm always sick. And always going to the doctor and always complaining. Okay, so now we understand integrity and word. The biggest thing was when Star tried to put words in my mouth about me walking on water. That's the one that really pissed me off to high hell. Because she was asking me to publicly endorse the Dimensional Mastery class at a level that I did not factually accomplish. That's how I knew it was that statement in that moment where I knew she was not even close to acceptable. That she wanted me to hoodwink somebody to believe that she was a grand master at the expense and integrity of my word. And she tried to shove the lies into my mouth and have me speak them in front of her, or else she was going to punish me. Oh, and she did. I walked on water. That's what she wanted me to say. I never walked on water. I spent $11,000 to a Dimensional Masterclass, and I never came close to walking on water. Never. In fact, I didn't see anybody do it. Zero. I did, however, witness the consistency of water change into something gelatin-like. So I could feel the difference of what the water, like it was less viscous and then it was more viscous. Heavier, thicker, more jelly. So that happened. And that was what I was comfortable because that was what was clear and honest. And that's the communication I delivered. And then was punished for it in a passive aggressive capacity later down the road. The salesmanship of the Mayan lineage was bizarro. So this Lilith Potter teaching really needs to come back home to like root chakra sanity. I don't care if you guys make 1 inch forward and you're like, yeah, that was improvement. That. The idea that you should be selling my class, 1 is bizarro. Number 2, the fact I make very little, if any, money on this class is, I spend a lot of money on this class, and it's basically free, okay? 1 improvement, another improvement, another improvement. Oh, look, we've passed a certain nexa of human behavior. Which usually engenders some kind of spiritual reward and may or may not add up to another magical power. So I try to sell the rewards of this class like 0 and sell the work of this class 100%. Because it's like, oh yeah, you do the push-ups and focus on the push-ups. And then, so I'm going to try to sell you the push-up. And then maybe you can go do tricks later on. Because that's, everybody wants to do the tricks, but nobody can. It's just like circus class. There's nothing different. It's going to be the same in martial arts or anything where there's substantial anything. I'm going to sell you the lava dump meditations. All right. I ain't going to sell you confessor powers. That's something I earned for myself. But I will sell you, maybe you can get on the Confessor Pearl Q and then be protected. Like that. That's something I can sell. And I'll be like, yeah, I can guarantee you won't get confessed when you reach this level. That. Kelly and I are funny because there comes a point in your mastery development where you stop chasing the carrot and that the carrot is try not to get hit with the stick. That's where you're like, oh, that's severity. That's a master path. Masters don't need carrots. Let me repeat that. Somebody was talking on my Facebook page going, you expect to get new customers calling people morons? And I'm like, Kelly and I are more powerful than 8 billion people combined. And we're nothing, okay? Just so you guys get that clear. We're in the the babyishness of our own reality. Infants, seedlings, okay? We're nothing. And we're still more powerful than 8 billion people combined. Customers, like, masters are not customers. They're initiates or adepts. We're here to serve. Like, let's sober this out. I didn't starve to death on a beach to attract customers. Mind blown. Can you imagine going up to the Himalayas in Babaji's era and going up to him and going, "You don't attract enough customers"? Oh my fucking God. The exploitation of the spiritual world into like monetary business is going to be done. That's going to be confessed off this planet so fast. It's unbelievable. It doesn't mean that the good people won't get paid or be taken care of. They'll be taken care of by Earth. There's a difference. Like, I'm going to exploit the element of air so I can make a buck. Not on this planet. That's a Slytherin. Oh my God. All right. So the big question is, how do you make a living where you're not exploiting? And if you can do it in integrity, it's acceptable. Lilith Potter. When we did the Gabriel, we did through the vagina. When you get knife raped, it explodes a metal octopus that turns into Christmas lights. That was a fantastic healing. Here we're going to do something else. I haven't even decided yet. We're still downloading. But you're going to go into your throat chakra. We're going to find the whore. I think we brought it up. It's the whore archetype. Like, I'm going to whore out my voice for a reward. That sounds about right, right? So we're going to find the whore archetype inside our throat chakra, and maybe it's through all the chakras. This is Lilith proper. I just got the download that this is just Lilith, you know? Find the inner Lilith. Man. So we're going to find the inner whore. And we're going to feed it with the maturity charm. and give it some substance and depth. Because it might feel like you need to be a whore and whore out your magic for money or your tarot, but you might not. We might have deeper magics and maturity to get out of it. We might be able to build ourselves up from the bottom, from below the bottom, okay? And fill in those voids where we may have been whoring out because we had no power, to where we like, yeah, I can do it without whoring. Because the last thing you want to do is end up like Star, you know? Oh. Like a tragic accident. Grasping for success or attention or even money. Like, we should not be grasping for any of those things. If we're grasping for anything, it's like, how do I make sure my niece doesn't get stabbed to death? That's what we should be grasping for. So we fill in that whore. I'm going all the way down to the bottom. So to my lower self, I'm going to my Lilith chakra, which is it's like Earth Star of Earth Star, maybe of Earth Star. So it's like deep in there. It's underneath Malkuth. This is like Mother Earth needing to sell out. Like, like, I'll give you some food if you stop raping me. Like that. It's tragic. And that's how you know how imbalanced this planet and society is. Like this planet's berserk. Whoever thinks that this planet is not 180 on the flip side of like zero integrity, nothing. Greta sits on a rock holding out a sign, and then it ends up on the cover of Vogue. And then I get left to starve to death on a beach for whales, and like everyone ignores me. And then pretends that I don't even exist. Like, there's a serious problem. Priorities. Elaine. All I can imagine is with Elaine going, keep going, honey. Like, she thumbed up me all the way through. Keep going. You're on the right. We're gonna get that maturity charm wiring in deep. I feel some of you guys going like, yeah, it's starting to get in. I'm also feeding it into the earth. Knowing full well how much the planet needs it. You might start hearing voices start saying bye to you. Closure to relationships, or like wounded conversations with others that just seem inane and psychotic. Because the maturity component of you, as it develops, it ceases to allow miasmas of delusion where people can continuously shit on you all day long and not receive punishment or consequence. That's how they choose to expend their energy, slaughtering you. This is the Jesus saying, like, those who live by the sword are definitely gonna, like, die by it. So if you're always just cutting others down and not doing the work, like, there's a really clear teaching in the mystery school. It's like, I choose to be a seeker of truth. Now, I shit on that, but not because not because I don't want to be a seeker of truth. It's more I want to be a finder of truth. But at the worst, I'm going to be a seeker of truth. So if I cannot logically deduce actual truth, I'm going to be seeking for it instead of slander or slaughter or ill calculations in my brain just going insane all day long. Now, it seems to be, in my perception, that the majority of people spend most, if not all, of their time in falsity. And you can tell because they think it's okay to cut down a tree. Or to eat meat without the animal's permission. Just right there should be the red flag boundary. That was Baba G's level. That was not enlightenment, okay? That was like base calculation of truth. Do not eat a chicken unless you have permission from the chicken kingdom to eat a chicken. Like, you need permission. Otherwise, the animal kingdom will attack. Now, when things get out of balance, it's much like Ishmael. If there are too many ducks, all right, and it damages the cyclical flow of the natural harmony, it's okay to start hunting some ducks. That's when you get permission, but you would even get permission on a spiritual basis first before you go duck hunting. But it's about creating harmony within the ecosystem. Otherwise, it's delusional ego of grandeur that you're just allowed to take whatever you want without harming anyone or anything. Those are trolls. Those people, I can do whatever I want without any consequence or harm. I can force people to channel me. Like, no. Like, no. Now, the problem with the West is that it's built up so severely that the reduction into an honest lifestyle seems almost impossible, if not miraculous. It's like, how do I get out of those karma traps in the Matrix without 100% getting off the grid? Like, how do I do it? It's like a lifetime journey just to get like, how do I not be creating harm? Like, just that seems miraculous. But that's the future. Not an over tech empire where we have chips in our brains, just like, there's the Eddie Izzard component. We have chips in our brains and we're living in an augmented reality. Like, no, anybody who's desiring augmented reality is going to be confessed real fast. And all proponents of that over technological component, they're going to be dead people that think that it's more important to develop that than to develop this and this and to go free some whales. Priorities. We're coming back to Earth and Malkuth. Those people will be on a mass confession blanket. The minute they start stealing stuff from the planet so that they can build their stuff and it doesn't actually equate to natural harmony and balance, that it like severs their connection. All right, let's fill in any more maturity charm. Talking about whoring out, that would be Mother Earth whoring herself out, by the way. Like, yeah, you can steal as much metal as you want from me as long as you create a little bit of healing on the planet. that. Dude, just me buying a Yoda Balls book, just so you get a frame of reference. Just me. Me. The girl who starved to death on a beach for whales. Buying a Yoda Balls book that's non-recyclable is like Mother Earth feeling a little whored out. It's life. That's the boundary. The pen I'm writing with should be eco-friendly. How do I buy eco-friendly pens? Simplify. Some people think this is extreme, No. No. This is base. Yeah, that's the mirror, where it's like 100% a mirror on their extremity, where they're at on the spectrum. This is just base, like zero neutrality. That's like not extreme. Extreme is the severe karmic debt towards the planet. That's extreme. That's the mirror. That's where whatever you do is extreme. I'm the norm. One-way mirror. It's that. All right. We're coming to a close. Let's just feel the maturity charm go down the back of your spine. Remember, this kind of looks like McGonagall. As a cat, but also as a human. So now I look at the whales again. Oh, this is going to be wipeout week. Because the people that think it's okay, and would stand for it, to leave the whales sitting and rotting in a tank, are going to be confessed off this planet. Because they are not for the planet and have no further value. And if that means 5 billion people then that means 5 billion people. But that's a blanket confession. And that's really tragic that people couldn't find it within themselves to think that they had to be a saint or a master to continue to exist on this planet, which is what I've been saying from day one. Saints and masters only. So that's the cap where Mother Earth is at. And starting early July, that's it. Now the confessed people, that will be interesting. They will be the first to get diseases and get sick and die off this planet as fast as possible. They will also not have any permissions to mutate with the oxygen changes. They've fallen off the tree at that point, unless they're of service or value. It's that. All right. Collieren out. Mother Earth stopped being a whore. Can you imagine that was the healing? Oh, God.